Make sure I got testing here. Okay. All right, everybody. I'm your brother Anuhazi here at Christos Avatar TV. Welcome, everybody. Tonight we're going to do something a little bit different. As you can see, we have a guest tonight, and this is Dhara Akasha. She's been on the show before. Can you say hello to everybody, Dhara?
Hi. Hi, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. And it'll be very different type of topic tonight. Still spiritual, but we're getting into some of that. Some people classify as conspiracy theories, but we know different as indigos, starseeds, awakening. Actually, in the Guardian teachings, they talk about a lot of the secret technologies that are used against us. So we're going to be talking about one of those things tonight called black goo. That's a real thing that's talked about in the UFO communities, secret space program communities. But me and Dara are going to give that perspective tonight. And so, could you have everyone just for the new people tell us a little bit about yourself? Thank you for being
Um,
here.
yeah, so I've been like studying a lot of the Christic teachings for a while. I feel like I've connected with a lot of different teachers through like different time points. Definitely Ashiana Dean. I know a lot of people are gonna say like that's crazy and weird, but I feel like if you're really in tune with your multidimensional self, it can get very confusing because you're talking to people's different selves on different timelines that might contact you and tell you about something that their other self is doing that might go astray, or like they'll contact you for different things, or even with like mediumship. So I've always had that. A lot of my psychic senses, like they've always been on since I was a kid. So I definitely went through that phase of like trying to like having them open, then sort of shutting them down and then opening them up again. And yeah, and ultimately, I think a lot of us have been like doing that kind of work, but I'm really grateful to have found the Christic teachings again, just because I feel like it's the most powerful that I've encountered, where you can really get your frequency up and you can start to clear a lot of things. So I'm glad that, that we're all here together and that we're kind of all getting on the same wavelength, it feels like to me. Like no matter what, it's accelerating. So like whether someone you think someone's fighting for like the dark team or whatever, it's all accelerating. So like it's becoming very obvious like which let's say which character or role play you're playing in this whole scenario.
Yeah, most definitely. And as it accelerates, it just means that stuff is happening and going towards an ultimate, well, the teachings call it a final conflict. So I agree with you on that for sure. And you had mentioned to me at the live that you wanted to open up with some type of prayer or meditation.
Yeah, so originally I wanted to like come on here and tell you guys about like all of this crazy stuff, but it definitely always seems like we're pointing fingers, like this group is doing that and that group is doing this, and it's so polarized. So I kind of definitely just wanted just to thank everyone for being here, whoever you are, and just to know that we are connected through our Christic shield and through the earth grids. And yeah, if everybody just wants to like just take a moment to focus on their heart and, if you know how to do your shield, where you just visualize like a star inside your pineal gland and touch down to the core of the earth and then connect with everyone in the earth grids and then up, and you can send it to the sun. You can sense maybe like a blue dot inside of the sun, and then maybe even send it all the way to like Aramatena, like 12D, why not? And just unite. I'm just kind of having the intention to unite everyone in a collective field of just coherence and harmony, having the intention to communicate in a compassionate way about the things that are bringing us more harmony and more unity, and maybe just mentioning the things that aren't, the things that are going in the opposite direction, that are creating more disconnection rather than connection, because I feel like we're all coming back together. And so it's nice to see it from the 3D perspective of duality, but also to expand and know that there's a bigger picture, a bigger story going on that extends far beyond us. And we're really in all of this together, playing these different characters in this cycle of time, really. So yeah, so my intention is just to feel thankful for all of you. Like no matter who's watching or which side or which team you find yourself on, just thank you. Thank you for playing in this collective play and for playing so well. And I think, one thing I was thinking about today is that um, we do tend to point a lot of fingers at the dark side or the disconnecting forces. But if you really think about it, if we are all one and we reconnect to that part of us that is at oneness with everything, it's almost like some of us agreed to play the role of being like on the polarity side or on the really, really dark side, depending on where you came in, right? So it's almost like I'm feeling thankfulness for the darkness, for choosing to play that role. And I'm also very aware that now is the time when God source is we're at the cycle points in time where we're getting called back to source, back to remembering who we are. So it's almost like the parts of us that agreed to play these dark roles of ignorance and disconnection and of harming others and all of that, it's like they agreed to go so far down the line of polarity. And now that we're all getting called back home, it's almost like we're forming this like bridge back into our hearts together. And it's almost like how I see the grids is like we're all bridging together. It doesn't matter where you are along the polarity line. It's like we're all helping each other to come back. So instead of just saying like this group is bad and I'm going to point fingers at them and don't deal with them, it's more like, thank you for playing that role. I'm so thankful for you. If you would like to step back to God source with all of us and you're ready to, then that's why we're here. And we have all of these like redemption contracts and meditations that you can do and ways for us to really come back together into that wholeness. And it's more like extending our compassionate love while still preserving. Obviously, if someone's going to try to kill you or anything like that, like you should have self-preservation. But for as long as you can, remain compassionate, knowing that those are also parts of you that agreed to play those really dark roles. And now coming back into wholeness to just like extend that love out and invite them to come back and to remember. So it's like, I see it as like a gradient, like this very loving, compassionate gradient and bridge back to ourselves and back into that perfect unity point. So yeah, so I don't know, I get really targeted. So I have a lot of like shut down moments where I'm like, I'm blocking these people or I'm shutting these people out. And it's more because I'm trying to preserve certain parts of my energy, or like I know that certain people are draining me. And I've actually had people messaged me recently, and I think it was after I was doing this really long meditation. This person said, I felt compelled to tell you that I've been targeting you since like September, and I was getting a big boost to my energy." And I was like,
Wow.
oh my gosh, like, yeah, I was like, what do you mean you've been targeting me? And like, I know there's different groups of people. So there's that whole impulse of like wanting to hide who you are and not sharing your gifts and not sharing your love with others because you know that you will get siphoned. It's almost like sometimes being very open-hearted and Christic, it feels like you want to extend love to others, but then you know that when you shine, that it's almost like telling like, all of the dark beings, like, here I am, come get me. So like you have to have those um those shields up, like your own Maharic shield united with your 12D current and up, so that you can really be, even if you are in the darkness with other beings, they don't affect you as much. And I feel like we're sort of learning how to do that. And it's one of the reasons why I really like Ashiana's work. It's just it gets you to shield up very quickly and to activate your DNA so fast while still being able to be around others and like extend your heart. Like I'm always being reminded to be compassionate and to hold that Christic perspective of we are all one. It doesn't matter how far you've gone into the darkness. Like God is never going to forget you. Even if you choose to stay there and you're not ready, then like there's so many others. Like we don't have to be stuck on one particular person not wanting to come back to the light. Like you just radiate your love wherever it is accepted and wherever it brings you. So, Yeah, so I guess the prayer was just like thankful for being in the play, and I'm thankful for everyone who's been here and who's been part of it.
That was awesome, Dara. Thank you very much. Very beautiful and healing and very mindful. And I think that's important in today's world is to be mindful of our energies and how we think, how we speak to others, how we treat, others in our hologram experience. It all matters. It affects our energies, what we're doing. It affects, and that also affects other people's energies. So, and it isn't about love, right? Coming together in that powerful frequency of source and just does amazing things for everybody, all life, not just humans, animals, plants, everything. So that should be something in our daily lifestyle or our spiritual journey is being mindful of what she just explained. So thank you for that, Dora.
Yeah, thank you. Because I told you that I had wanted to start doing like a Christic group where we all do
Hmm.
all of the meditations together. Because there's a lot of Christic groups out there, but they usually they'll give you the materials, but they want you to do it on your own, which can be kind of hard because they're a little confusing. So I wanted to have one where we can all do it together. And one of the things that happens is that your psychic senses just get so woken up because your DNA starts to activate. And so all of a sudden you look around and you'll start to see people's multidimensional selves, or you'll start to see like reptilians or like,
Yeah.
like really negative entities. And you're like, whoa, do I even want to be in this room with the same people? Like you start, like there's a part of you that will get scared.
Yeah.
And so I think we're always trying to learn how much can I be my true loving Christic self around these group of people, and how much do I have to like shield myself? And I think that's like a fine balance that we're learning. But definitely when you start to activate, like you'll just start to everything sort of like polarizes so you can see it clearly. But you have to see it clearly so that you can have the compassion to extend beyond that and understand your role in it and whatever part you're choosing to play in it. So, yeah, so that kind of relates to the black goo stuff, which is like,
Hmm.
which is just, I mean, I've had definitely like different experiences since I don't know, I've kind of just had a lot of my multidimensional aspects and memories just come back to me. And I'm very in tune with like other selves that I have living other realities and even in other bodies. And I feel like a lot of, let's say, like the disconnecting forces in the universe, they try to recreate what God has created or what the guardians have created with some type of like, let's say like misinformation, or like there's certain aspects of the code that are missing so that people don't really get the whole truth. And so with the AI, like the Black Goose stuff, like I've had one lifetime where um I know that we were fighting on like another planet. It has to do with AI. And I know that my heart was like infected and I had a different body and we had like really big hearts.
Hmm.
And I just remember that like the Guardians had put me in this kind of like a healing sphere or like a healing egg and like a ship. And they were asking me as like the higher self me, like, do you want to save this body because it's really like far gone, like infected with this black goo. And so the black goo, it's literally something that starts to like eat the soul of a person. I want to see it. Say it like it it's like poison. It's almost like that movie Venom where like they get a little bit of it on them and then it starts to sort of like take over. So we had
Yeah.
timelines where a lot of us that tried to fight the black goo, which was this really dark, as far as I know, like other people might have more information on it. It seemed to me like it was this really dark AI thing that would just like take over and start to harvest your energy and start to just like it's almost like cancerous, but it's AI. And so so I told the Guardians, I was like, yes, like I want you to save that body of mine. And this is because I've been like on this Christic mission myself that like they were helping me with this. So they put that body of mine, it was almost like it was having open heart surgery or something, and I could see inside of that body. And it also had a lot of like azurite crystals inside of it. And so that's why I remember thinking in that lifetime, like, okay, we need to save this body because there's a lot that is going on here that can be very beneficial, even if it is infected. And they told me it was going to be painful to like heal it, but they did heal it. And as they were healing it, it was almost like the black goo like burned into the flesh. And so it had to be slowly like um I want to say like alchemized. And so it started to turn from like black to like a different color, like dark orange to pink to like eventually the regular color of the skin. But this was like internal, it was
Mm.
inside of my body.
Yeah.
And it took them, I want to say it took them like a few months in like my human time. Like they were just like, okay, we're just gonna do the work here and then, like keep you updated on how this other body of yours in surgery, how it's doing, clearing this black goo. And yeah, that was pretty like impressive to me, like that it took so much effort to clear up that black goo and that it was so infiltrated. Like it's not like a machine that you could pick out. It like literally like burns and merges with the body and it just like starts to take over.
Well, that's its
So
program, right? That's what it's designed to do, to take over.
yeah. Yeah, and even I mean this black goo thing, it's everywhere. Like I feel like we've had to shut down entire like quadrants of the universe and in different sections because it just completely took over the galaxy. Like it just eats it up. Like it just needs fuel and it just eats everything. And I feel like because of the wormhole technology that certain groups continue to bring back over, like they've built wormholes where we have created quarantines with the Guardians. And so when they open up these wormholes, they also brought with them some of that black goo. And so we still have remnants of black goo and people who are infiltrated with it in this current timeline that we're in. And it's very much AI tech. People would say that it's probably like ET stuff, but I'm aware that certain people who have been, it's like there's so many teams, right? So there's been people that have been on like the Christic side, or let's say like the Council of Free World side that really do want to free humanity and to free all of the beings that are enslaved here. And so some of them have gotten infiltrated with black goo. And so then it kind of like feeds darkness into people and it starts to feed like dark thoughts because its ultimate goal is to get them to convert them basically into like AI machine constructs. Like they just get eaten up by this AI hive mind goo. And there was a point in time when I was interacting with certain people where I would wake up in the middle of the night and I felt really drained. And I would see this black cloud of dark goo, and it had all these like tentacles, and it would try to like take codes from me or like try to recode my energy field or like try to get into my spine. And I'd always have to do like the meditations and prayers and like get them away and get them to leave me alone. So I've definitely been attacked by it before, but it's gotten smarter to where it won't just like take a person out and infect them. You do have to have a weakened shield and you have to allow them in. So if you're sticking with your sovereign prayers and like really trying to be connected to your God self, like you'll be able to tell when someone is infected with it and how much you should really mix your energy with those people or what kind of like if you do have this giant cloud of black goo coming over to you, you'll know how to send it away. So that's definitely something that's going on right now. Like I know that's happening for other people here too.
Yeah, it's also soft disclosure in movies and video games amongst the celebrities.
Yeah.
Like some of them don't even hide it. They're just like Lady Gaga, it's in their videos. They all this
Ooh.
goos all over. Megan Fox, the actress.
Yeah.
Even Justin Timberlake, Billie Eilish, Doja Cat, and people look up to these people. These are the same people that dress up like Lucifer or Satan, and they have this connection to these demonic or fallen angelic consciousness. So they're going to promote it through their videos to millions of people. So,
Mhm.
um,
Yeah, that's definitely another thing. I mean, I'm not familiar with some of their videos because I try not to watch it too much,
of
but you
course,
can't help it because like you'll
yeah,
scroll through like Facebook or something or even
yeah.
YouTube and they'll show you clips like the shorts and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I would say most of the celebrities are so infiltrated and so gone, but I would say that's more like satanic rituals that they're into, and they're just completely overtaken by demons. And also I think a lot of them have been cloned and they've gotten rid of like the real person and they are just walking around clones. Like they're programmed clones that are remote controlled. And I know that sounds like so hectic and crazy to say, but there are
Mhm.
people around us right now that are just clones, meaning that I think clones, and maybe Ashiana Dean said something about this, but I think clones can really only go up to like 4D, maybe like 5D a little bit as far as like their DNA activation. And then if the real person is completely like killed off, like they can't ever rejoin. So it's really hard. I don't know what we're gonna do about all the clones. Maybe
Yeah.
they'll find a redemption contract of some kind. But Hollywood is completely infiltrated, and even the government, like I want to say, but I don't know if I should really talk about that on here.
Yeah, it's certain things, but not the V
Not the
word
G. Okay.
or the
Oh,
GO
okay, okay.
word.
Hmm.
But
True.
I mean,
Very
I
true.
think part of it, one second here. I
Hmm.
think part of it is leaking it out. Like even in the X-Files movies, I'm sure some of you have seen the movie X-Files, and the whole movie is based on the black goo and infiltrating, kind of like how Dara explained. It's meant to reprogram you, change you. And in those people that I mentioned, their videos, they show the person as soon as they get interact with that black goo, it changes them. Of course, uh, Billie Eilish just shows them actually getting it jabbed into her. And so, and that's another aspect of it. Black goo is said to be inside the jab. I can't say the real word, of course.
Hmm.
One of the ingredients, one of the synthetic ingredients. Okay, hello, transhumanism. This is meant
Yeah.
to change you. It's meant to uh, take that which is human into something other than human. And so, and it's actually goes more than just AI because even humans have made AI, but this is like a sentient AI. It has a survival aspect to it. It protects its own self. It will learn how to escape if it needs to. So it has its own programming, but it's also aware enough to interact with this environment, interact with the body it may get into. And so, like, that's what I think that
Yeah.
whole Billie Eilish thing is showing you, like, soft disclosure where it's in. One of the places you can find it is in that. So,
Yeah, it's like it's super intelligent. It's not really anything that we have created ourselves. It's definitely like you can't deny that the government is obviously working with negative ETs and a lot of the negative ETs have
mm,
taken over. Um, and they're the ones that have been like slowly feeding and like different types of technology to the government or the government has tried to also recreate certain things that they've seen the ETs have, but they can't do it all the way. So they just come up with different designs. And it's like it's a giant mess. But
mm,
I do feel like the black goo has something to do with turning people into more controllable machines, and it's also like it plugs them into this weird hive mind. So you know how like a lot of people are talking about, like I was just talking about unity consciousness. And so unity consciousness is more like God source technology. Like we're
mm,
not, it's not artificial, it's organic.
yeah,
And we can all tune into God source and we can all be at one with God source and still have our own free will and our own individual experiences. And it's this beautiful, like fractalized, amazing, like journey of
organic and
consciousness.
natural.
Yeah. And so in the same way, the negative ETs have tried to create like when I think about going down the rabbit hole, I think about going down like how many virtual realities into the matrix are you? And how many virtual realities have scaled down to be where you're at right now? And how many more are there? Because I feel like the negative ETs, they don't want us to all unite back with God source. Like they want us to just join part of their virtual reality experiments and programs because the more Christic and conscious people and conscious souls that are here, the more that they can try to siphon our energy and extend their lifetime. So if we all regain our own sovereignty and our own consciousness and we say, yes, I want to go back to God's source, and I mean, they're going to make it as difficult as they can. And they're going to try to distract us with all these beautiful virtual realities that are completely artificial, completely fake, just to try to get you to give in and spread your consciousness into these false AI networks because you're the one that has the real God source spark, which is what they're using to fuel all of these artificial things on a smaller scale, which is why they have so many like rabbit holes in virtual realities that are artificial.
Well, the black goo itself feeds off of you, feeds off your energies, feeds off of blood. And so it perpetuates itself. And as the more people are connecting to these false light systems, they're actually feeding that system. They're making it stronger by being part of that, participating in it. And so
Yeah.
it's hungry.
Yeah, they totally are. And I mean, all of this sounds like kind of depressing, but it's like let me tell you about all of the dark things that are going on, and then I can also tell you about some of the good things. But
Of course, we'll do both.
yeah. Yeah, so as far as like dark things, they're definitely creating, I mean, the black goo stuff is everywhere. Like what I have felt in the astral realms when I'm sleeping a lot of the time, and my sleeping schedule has been very erratic. And I think that's been on purpose because my guides want me to be awake at certain hours and not awake at other hours when people and ETs are
Yeah,
doing more stuff.
yeah.
But a few weeks ago, I probably felt them like pretty much like different ET groups like carve out territories, like just in the airspace where they're running different frequencies to see how it affects the people and the artificial, how they adopt us with all of that stuff. Well, I didn't have those, but most people did have to take the shots.
Hmm.
So they're trying to see like how much they can actually manipulate us at this point and like what frequencies are we responding to. And then those are getting emitted through drones, through different kind, I mean, even through your phone. But they're basically creating these false grids that a human can plug into because one of their goals, and when I say they, I mean like the dark government and like the dark negative
Yeah.
ETs that are all working together. Um, they're trying to offload human consciousness and trap it inside of these false light, false 5D realms where
Mhm.
they'll tell you you can create whatever you want, and they'll try to offload your consciousness to that and not allow you to know that you're in it. While they want to create like the human body, they want to make it more susceptible to machines so that they can actually merge, like the whole transhumanism thing is so that different ETs that don't actually have a connection to our planet can come and have a body because they're so, it's like if you can make a half machine, half AI, like it's a very advanced technology and merge it with a human DNA that is actually connected to the Earth grid still, you
Mhm.
can pretty much give life to beings that aren't even part of the Earth system. Like they're already doing that. So you have beings that are ET consciousness that is coming here and infiltrating human bodies, but they're not even supposed to have those bodies because they weren't born in here. Like they weren't born on Earth. They're not connected to the grids. It's like a really weird ET
Well,
infiltration.
they prize our bodies and our codes
Yeah.
and our what we can access. They want that access.
Exactly. hmm Yeah, but they're also, I mean, I guess the biggest danger I would say is that they're trying to offload human consciousness, like
Mhm.
organic human consciousness, and trap it in these false AI and AI grid worlds so that they can have access to our organic bodies and give our bodies to whoever, whatever consciousness they want to put into it. And so you can do it in a way where you can have multiple consciousnesses sharing a body. And so usually we would call that like possession or there's different contracts. Like you could have an indigo 3 and different kinds of things along those lines. But when it's like a hijacked body, that's usually what they want to do. They want to make sure that they can offload the organic consciousness and trap it because it's valuable. Like consciousness is what they really value. That's what's holding all of this together because I mean, we might have individuation, but we're still part of God's source. So our consciousness is like the fuel that is running this entire matrix. So they don't want us to have access to our own consciousness, to our own organic bodies, and they want us to get further and further lost in the matrix, in all of these false timelines. And like all they can really do is fracture our consciousness, create more and more fractalized loops that are all, they're not harmonious. They're like warped architecture. It's
Yeah.
not even, there's,
Distortions.
yeah, they're all completely distorted.
Yeah.
Because it's harder to get back to God source when you're so fragmented and when your energy is fueling like entire grid systems that are false, that are AI.
Well, plus you're no longer have an organic DNA template that you were designed to operate your own consciousness through. So now you're twisted and distorted and now not even connecting
Yeah.
yourself like you should.
Yeah, exactly. So I definitely think that that's like one of the primary agendas of things that they're trying to do to get human consciousness trapped in these false AI timelines, to try to get people to be disconnected from their own bodies. And they have all of those different ways of doing that. And I also think that there's a lot of good things happening, which is that, you do have a lot of humans that are asleep, but you also have a lot of humans that are waking up and that are
Hmm.
saying, like, this is such bullshit. Like, what do we do about it?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I think respecting free will is really important, but at the same time, like being conscious of your choice. Like maybe you're not ready to go down a Christic path. Maybe you're not ready to
Yeah.
ascend or to really meditate, but then you know that your other options are to join these false AI timelines where they won't let you have free will. They give you limited choices. So it's not really free will. It's like free will constrained to an equation that is very small versus what God source gives you, which is complete free will.
Well, that's the end game. They want to bribe you to get on this route, so but at the end of that path, there you won't have free will. You will be a slave, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And even if you think about like a lot of the elite celebrities that we were talking about before, like they sell out their souls or they sell out parts of them and then they allow themselves to be cloned and they allow their clones to be used by different people and for
Yeah,
different
yeah.
purposes. But it's like they only get a little bit of rewards in one lifetime. And even
Right.
then, like they can't deal with it. Like you see all of the different celebrities going crazy now because they just
Hmm.
can't deal with it. I think the frequency of the planet is too high. Like they can't stop it. They're trying to delay it as much as possible, but they can't stop God's source calling itself home. And and the ones of us that can hear it, we can be compassionate to all of our brothers and sisters and unite. And I think we really underestimate our own power because it
Hmm.
can be, we're so used to fragmenting ourselves into these small individuals. But if we organically do connect and merge our collective intentions to heal the planet or to raise the consciousness or to have like a group intention of restructuring the grids, maybe like in one zone, like in a town or in a state or eventually worldwide or at
Most
different
definitely.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does have an effect. What they want
Mhm.
you to think is that you can't do anything about it
Or
or
we have
that,
to rely on something else or someone else, right?
yeah, exactly.
But we're powerful. We're badasses. We have to remind each other that we're angelic humans. We have this mighty potential, and so don't let anyone tell you otherwise, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a lot of distractions out there, which it is kind of worrisome to an extent because future generations, I think they won't, there's just too many distractions out there. People don't have those quiet moments unless they create space for quiet moments. Like there's always a phone, there's always some noise out there, like somebody's always
Yeah,
texting you or calling you, like you need to create
yeah.
space for you to just be with yourself.
I think a lot of people can't stand just to be sitting in silence. They need some distraction. They need their music. They need their TV. They need their phones, right?
Yeah, well, even, and I mean, it's perfectly understandable, but I do feel
Yeah.
like, how are you supposed to know who you really are and
Right.
what your connection is to the
You can't
planet or to the
stay
earth?
still for 10 seconds, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think we need to bring meditation back just to like schools, to kids, to just for ourselves to like make that time, maybe like 10 minutes a day or something.
Go into nature, right?
Yeah, going into nature and leave your phone in the car. Don't get
Yeah,
lost.
exactly. I mean, that's what we did in Sedona, actually. We didn't we put away the phones. we weren't stuck on the phones. We were there in Sedona for a reason. And so, and it's so empowering, right? You live in Sedona, you know what it's like, right?
Yeah, where did you go or where did you feel the energy the most?
There was some path that it wasn't a major tourist location, but it was around the corner kind of thing where we were walking for a long time. The dirt was beautifully red and lots of trees, and oh my gosh, it was so amazing. And but the bell one was really cool. It was a challenge to climb some of it, but it was just breathtaking. And intuitively, you knew that was strong frequency that was beneficial. So
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because I went to Cathedral Rock with a friend the other day and it was so powerful. Like even though I live here, I don't always go hiking because it's hot and I'm like, okay, I have to do it really early or I have to do it late in the day and
yeah,
you know
it's
what it means.
Arizona.
It's so hot here. So
Yeah.
I went to Cathedral and I had a bunch of entities just come up to me and like they were all in like around us. And they basically what I learned from them, what they were trying to show me is that they were trying to get me to ask like what part of me isn't sacred because everything is sacred. And and it was more like
Was that a
there
trick
was
question or what?
no, it was they were telling me so first of all there was like some beings that were sort of like protecting the place because they could just feel my energy and they were just like activated and they just sort of like come close to you. There's all kinds of beings there. So there was like some I want to say like ancient maybe like warriors of some kind. Like they definitely had little
Oh,
spears and they were just like, what
hmm.
are you doing here? Like I don't know. And then there was like this ancient grandmother that came. And she
Ah,
kind of told them to go because it felt a little hostile at first.
right.
And so she told them to go. And she was like, she just looked like this ancient grandmother and she was looking at me. And then, I was just thinking, like, based on the energy that I was carrying, like, what could I do that would be of service to this being? Because sometimes, like, you think you see beings in your head and you're just like, oh, whatever. And then you just stop thinking about it. But it's like, for me, it can be
Yeah,
very, very alive, like how I'm looking at you. So it's like I can't just like ignore you. So I was kind of asking,
right. You want to
what can
interact.
what can I
Mhm.
do? And I think I
What
had like,
service?
yeah,
Service, right?
exactly. And I had some chocolates and some kind of nuts in the car. And I was like, maybe I'll just leave this offering here and see if she likes it. And she did. And I kind of tend to do that stuff out of respect for like all of the different beings that are there, or even just like nature.
Yeah.
It's just like, I mean, I don't know that they're really going to eat it, but it's
Well,
just like a respectful.
most people won't think about that, Dara, but that's really cool that you do, right?
Thank
Considerate of
you.
these
Yeah.
lineages that have been here. So,
Yeah. And so she actually she opened up, like she turned into this giant geometrical being. I was not, this is me totally sober, okay? Like I just see things very deeply, especially at power spots. And so she
you don't
turned
have to
in,
explain that to this audience. We know what's up,
okay.
right?
Yeah, so she turned into this geometrical being and she was wearing like a cloak and then she opened up her cloak and she had almost like different fractalized like almost like a web, but it wasn't like a spider web. It was like a grid and it
Mhm.
was something that I was seeing like a fence or like horizontal grid around. And in each of the eyes it was kind of like transparent. It had all these different colors. And she was basically telling me to like let to leave something there. And she did like the offering. She told me that I could leave something there as like a gift to me that I could release something. So I was thinking like, well, what could I really release here? And then I just felt her sort of like pull out of me this something that I was carrying in my DNA, which is like this guilt at like creating things here on the planet on Earth because if you are very aware of what's going on the planet, like you always can like think about like should I really be bringing children into the world, right? Or should I, because everything's so corrupted now or how
Yeah.
much of my higher self do I really want to bring in here? And I had noticed a while back that it's almost like one of those weird belief systems that prevents you from creating more fully and embodying who you really are on this plane because you don't want to because you see how corrupted it is, or you see if you don't have good boundaries, then people just try to steal your energy, and it's almost like you just gave all this energy to the dark forces.
You mean a previous life belief system or this
No,
current life?
it's a belief system that was in my DNA of just like this
Yeah.
guilt at creation, like this
Mhm.
guilt at creating things and this reluctance to fully step into my creative power and into my ability to hold more of myself here in my own physical body because if you're really aware, it's easier to just go up into the higher realms and just feel good versus like fully stepping in, fully transmuting everything that needs to be transmuted and returned back to God's source and really being who you came here to be. So
Yeah.
it takes a lot of grounding. And it's like you have to create more in the world to be of service in the world. So you have to
Mhm.
be willing to be seen. You have to be willing to bring in more energy from God's source into your body
Yeah.
and allow that to inspire your creations so that they can be of service to everything. And so she was basically pulling out like the guilt from me of just the guilt of creating or the guilt of like not creating the right things or allowing people to just take my creation energy. And she was
Is
also
it?
saying, "Mhm,
It's so amazing that you got so much out of that experience. Like it just was a huge
yeah.
spiritual lesson.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you can always communicate. I mean, that's also part of just like tuning in. It's like people think they have to take psychedelics or they have to do all
No.
these crazy things. No, you just have to like tune in to who you really are and activate, and all these things open up for you. And so she kind of like transmuted that energy for me. And she was just saying like how she was showing me how like everything is a gift to God's source. So even things that you think are really bad or things that you feel guilty about or things that you might want to hide from God's source, like all of that, like if you could look at it from God's perspective, even like any part of you that wants to hide, you should see it as a gift to God's source. And if you take on that mindset of like everything that I create is a gift that feeds all of life because we're all connected and it's going to ripple out. Like every thought that you think sends out a ripple into the ethers. Like everything you think, everything you feel is sending out ripples. So we really are all
Yeah.
connected. It depends how sensitive you are. So everything you create, even
Well,
more
it's
so.
the human race field too, and the planet's field. We're all connected through that. So,
Yeah, but even thinking that there's parts of you that are not sacred or that are not
right.
whole is almost like holding your own gift of self from all
Mhm.
of life. So if you
You're
have,
limiting yourself, right?
yeah, and if you take on the belief system of like everything is a gift, even everything that I might want to feel like hiding from God, like whatever it is, like everyone has their own things that they feel guilty about, or like, maybe you squished a snail or something when you were a kid, like I don't know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, if you just see everything from the eyes of source, you really have more compassion for yourself for even thinking that parts of you aren't sacred. It's almost like God doesn't care. God is like your parent. So if you did some kind of crazy drawing and you give it to your parent, like they're not going to say it's ugly. They're just going to take
Well,
it and
God
be
doesn't judge. God only loves. So,
yeah, yeah, exactly. But she really helped me to feel that, and it actually made me like really cry because I just felt so much love like pouring at me and into me from everything and everyone.
are you
And
sure? You sure she wasn't familiar to you? Maybe she was part of your higher self
she,
or a different
well,
family.
I was thinking afterwards that maybe she is like connected to Cathedral Rock because it's called Cathedral Rock, and inside of like this web, you know how cathedrals have these beautiful rainbow windows?
Hmm.
That's kind of what
Yeah.
it looked like what her light body looked like this beautiful fractal of colors. And I was
So
like,
like there's two
yeah.
different guardians there. The warrior ones you saw first, and then the grandmother one in the Sedona land, right? Kind of like guardians or something.
Yeah, but this was specifically at Cathedral Rock. And then she showed me how there was, well, basically these places are spaces where people have created like very quick activation. So like the energy is running in such a way where it can really activate you. So that's what it was doing to me. And then I saw this force field around Cathedral Rock specifically, like a big giant dome around it. So when you come into these spaces, you really do have, it's good if you have an intention, but just know that when you walk into these vortexes in Sedona or anywhere else in the world, like you have the ability to connect to very wise beings that can help you because they're places of accelerated learning, or they can accelerate the activation
Yeah.
of your DNA.
And this is why I talk about how important it is to actually go to physically go to these sacred sites like Sedona, because it literally, like you just explained, activates some part of you, even if it's memories or your own frequency. It's like a boost, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. I guess I was just thinking about that because you mentioned, coming over
Yeah.
here and
Yeah.
Cathedral Rock too. But all of the
Yeah.
different sites do that. And
I didn't
yeah,
get
and
to
I think,
visit everything. I'll be back again. So our group will come again and check out what Sedona has to offer. So.
yeah. Did you guys have a guide or who?
No, we just winged it ourselves, just selected a few places that we would like to check out, and maybe a guide might help. Do you encourage that, or you think that's a good idea?
It's still not needed, but if you want to,
To know the
it like
history and information, yeah.
yeah, maybe not even like a regular tour guide, but more like a spiritual guide that's
There we
like, this
go.
is the spot.
You
They're
should offer
around.
that service, right? You should be, well, have,
Maybe. I mean, I need to explore more places, but yeah, I
yeah,
could at some point. Or I'd be
yeah,
happy to show you next time you come. We didn't get to meet up this time, but
most definitely.
yeah. Yeah, so I think
And
overall I've been really wanting to connect to larger groups of people
mhm,
with a common intention of accelerating our DNA and
that's why
like
you want to do those classes like Cathara, right?
yeah. Yeah, so I wanted to have a group where we do that
Mhm.
together, and maybe meet like once a week or something like through Zoom. And then we're all working on the same thing at once. Because
Yeah.
I think it's hard for people to just have the materials, but then have to do it on their own. Like it's almost like too overwhelming.
Yeah, I've even seen comments like that. Like, this is really hard to understand, or, but I mean, that's okay. People have questions, but we always want to support that. But I think what you're plan on doing is awesome, to actually literally, even if it's not physical, we're still simultaneously with intention coming into these sacred techniques and running the frequency together. Group energy is much, much more powerful. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I totally do agree. And then I also wanted to talk about how I think a lot of us, if we were all running our frequency more frequently, it would be easier for us to interact together because there's a lot of like, yeah, like finger pointing and a lot of attacks going on. And I think a lot of people are afraid to even say that, to even speak about what they know because they think that they'll be targeted. And honestly, like I think that they will be targeted. So you have to go beyond just your connection to these people. You have to like really, really strengthen your connection to the divine so that it's less targeting, or so that you're better able to fend these
Yeah.
intruders off, because
Uh,
that is something that has happened to me. Like the more that I've talked about these
mhm.
things, the more targeted I got.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, I think so that would be very important as we come together in groups to be mindful of that spiritual security, making sure we're all safe and all protected. Like when we met together in Sedona, we were safe, we felt safe, and we want to have that mindset with everybody and check everybody and ask if how they feel and get feedback, and if there's any issues that could affect the group. You'll even hear Speaker One, Ashana, talk about everyone really needs to do their Mahar seal when they come together, and just be mindful of our thoughts and how we speak, right? So,
Yeah, and I think everything is really intention driven. So like when you
mhm.
are in a group, to have your own heart shield up, and then to also
Yeah.
like know that when you form a group with people, you are creating like almost like another entity. Like your group is a collective. It can be seen as like a being. So what is your collective intention for coming together? And I think
Ye-
that's what I'd really like to bring more life into, because I feel like sometimes when we gather, we don't have a direct intention.
Maybe
Um,
even post that like in the description of the event, what,
Yeah.
some simple expectations, and so everyone's mindful of that. And I think it'll be, I mean, maybe start off with small groups and then slowly and learn what we needs to be done next time. Like I know, for example, Sedona, we know what we could do next time to make it even better. Same with these meditations. I think we would, and I think we're meant to come together, Dar. I mean, that's what indigos are, like you said, we're much more powerful when we come together as a group. But
Yeah, and also individually too. Like I even though
yeah.
there's all of these dark things going on, there's also been a lot of good activations. Like I've woken up a lot of times like in the middle of the night, like even recently. And they're doing a lot of different initiations and activations. Like your soul group is so aware of everything else that is going on. And I'm talking about like your higher, like your soul family on higher planes that wants to assist you. And so if you want to connect with them, like you definitely can set that intention out there and they'll come and show you things in your dreams or they might even wake you up and you'll come out of body and see them because that's been happening to me a lot too, where I get really activated when I'm like half asleep and it turns into a lucid dream. And then I'm just able to multidimensionally be aware of all these different things happening. And so there's a lot of goodness coming. We just need to remain open to that possibility of being helped and to know that we are powerful individually, but also collectively, like even more so collectively,
Yeah.
regardless of whatever is going on with the government or like with jobs or
Right.
false timelines. And if you really think about it, like the biggest allure of AI is that people don't have to do the inner work to talk to each other. They can just talk to AI. You know?
Well, I think there's a big difference between um, the hive mind that you mentioned and a guardian group coming together in unity, like you said. So, they want you to join the hive mind. So they're actually, which is usually led by a queen or whatever leader wants to be leading. You're plugged in like Neuralink. You're plugged into that's inorganic. That's not natural. That's not what we're talking about. We want the unity consciousness and come together in love, a space of love, right?
Yeah, and I definitely don't think all AI is bad. Like, I think it's very convenient, but I don't think it has access to like your Akashic records or anything like that. Like, it can read energy and certain things about you, but it can't. And when I say energy, I mean the parts of you that are infiltrated by nanotech, that it's like it's tracking behaviors and it's linking up with those behaviors. And it's all based off of like things that you research and all of that. So, like, you know how people say that they're asking their chat GPT to tell them about their soul? Or like,
What,
is this true?
really?
And it's like, yeah, people do that. And I'm just like, how are you doing it? Like, it's obviously not alive. So,
Well, it's also, you don't ask a fortune teller to tell you who you are. You don't need anyone else to tell you who you are. You go inside to find out who you are. Because I don't know about you, I have people ask me all the time, can you please do a reading? Right? I mean, this is about self-sovereignty. So,
yeah. Well, and readings are, I think, are okay as long as you tell the person, like, this is an interpretation of your energy based off of all of my own filters. Let me show you how you can read your own energy.
well, that's a good way to say it.
But
Yeah.
if you really want to, I can tell you what I'm seeing right now. Like I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But definitely a computer, like it's not connected in the same way that you are.
Well, we how the AI works is pulling data from servers. That's how it's answering you. It doesn't know anything about the spiritual realms or the Akashic records. So
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there's also, so at the same time that they're creating all these artificial grids, there's also a lot of activations going on the planet. And what I see happening is the more of your Christic architecture that you get back. And when I say Christic, like there's a lot of different architectures for consciousness, but this one was specifically created for us. And you know that as like angelic humans, like this was created for us to use as a tool that helps us to reconnect through all of the levels all the way to zero point God source. So, so for us, when we start to clear everything that's in the way of that and like take our energy back, it's almost like you flip on different channels because everything is happening right
yeah,
here.
yeah,
You're just kind of like switching off certain realities and switching on other realities. And that's kind of like what multidimensional perspectives are. Like you're having all these different lifetimes, you're navigating through the matrix, but there's also specific ways where like when you turn your body on completely or
Mhm.
as much as possible, like you'll start to see that your highest God self is calling you back home. And so you're only clearing up whatever you need to clear up of yourself so that you can rejoin those aspects. And it's almost like you're joining your avatar self and your soul monad, and you're dissolving everything that stands in the way of that. And the more that you do it, you're going to affect the people around you. So it's not like it's your personal responsibility to heal the whole world. It's more like the more that you come together, like just you being and existing and acting out of your own Christic kindness and heart,
Mhm.
that's what's changing the world. And it just happens so organically and beautifully that it's not even like an effort to help others. Like it just sort of naturally happens. Like you
Yeah.
want to be of service.
And that's why there's incentive to work on that, bringing in more Christic frequency, because you do literally turn on those parts of yourself. You will actually be re reclaiming your memories, like a movie playing on in your head. I've heard Ashana talk about that. It is something that just was always there, but because of the distortions and the grids and our life, choices that's been blocked. All of that consciousness can't fit into this 3D body. But now that we're bringing in these higher life force energies, we're opening that potential within us, and not just ourselves, but the human race has that available to them, right? So,
Yeah, and I mean, it kind of does seem like a win-win situation for everybody because it's like you get more activated, you get more psychic, you get more of yourself back, you get
right.
more connection to it's almost like being on drugs without like any drug thing. It's just like you have access to so much more of yourself and life gets so much more interesting. Um, the only thing to be aware of is definitely just people trying to siphon you and people trying to take your energy and just having that discernment of like, okay, shields have to be up for me to interact around this group of people. And it's not really like a
Yeah,
judgment. It's just you protecting yourself.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
My energy's mine. Thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly.
You have your own.
Yeah. Or
So,
we can show you how to reconnect to your own.
right. Please
Yeah.
heal yourself and come back and join us, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Exactly.
I think that's our potential, and it's good that we're come together like this in groups and discussions and just open that awareness to others, and they say, yeah, that's inside of that's what I could be doing too, So I think that's what we're doing is important, just bringing that awareness, and so I'm just glad that
Yeah.
we're doing that.
Yeah, and yeah, so I'm pretty happy to share like, my own experience with like Christic different kinds of meditation, not just Christic stuff, but also to offer that as like a group thing because I feel like that's the most important part of being of service. It's not just like I don't want a community for like any kind of superficial reason. It's more like it just feels like my soul's work and like my soul's path. And I think if you're really aligned to yourself, like you do want to be of service. And you're like, well, how can I help? Or like, where can I help? And I do see a lot of the other angelic beings around me just being constantly siphoned or targeted. And there's moments of clarity where I know people do listen to a meditation I did, or they just get to a moment of like just complete clarity and I can sense their inner child like just beaming back at me. And
Mhm,
then, if they don't keep it up, then like it just comes back. It's almost
mhm.
like opening up a portal to the self and then it just closes again. But I could see them and it's just so beautiful to know that we have that ability to interact together from this like innocent, like God connected self that is like pure and that is not
Mhm.
wanting to take things from other people. Because that's another thing that I've been exploring, which is like relationships and love and how you know that you really love people when you don't see them as like a means to an end. Like people are not
Yeah,
your ATM machine. People are not there to give you things. Like people, like when you love being around people just because you enjoy their company and their energy and you want everything that is good for them, then like that's more along the lines of real love.
that's
And I
authentic.
yeah, and I think people are just so confused about it. Like people have all these weird little
Mhm.
agendas just because of all of the trauma that humanity has been through.
Yeah, it's a lot of agendas that aren't so helpful to our angelic human agenda. So,
Yeah, I guess if I could even share anything else, it's like all of society externally is kind of like deteriorating at this point because that's what they want. They want it all to be hectic and disconnected so that they can control you. Because if you're alone and weak, you're easily controlled. But if you can actually stop looking outwards to tell you who you are and you just feel within yourself and feel your connection, it really does seem like it's almost like closing your eyes to the external so that you can really know before you see it reflected back at you in the external. And that kind of deals with like programming your own hologram and the external being part of the things that you're still attached to or holding on to as a program that is reflected in your outer reality. But you being a Christic being that is connected to God's source, you actually have that God spark that you're infusing into your holographic field so that you can see the realities that you want can collapse into pure manifestation when you know that it's like when you take your willpower back, like your willpower is given to you from God's source and you have that capacity to do so, but you can only do it when you know who you are and when you know that you can do it versus when you're looking externally for validation or when you're always depending on other people to tell you who you are. Like you were just telling me before, people ask
yeah.
us to do readings because they're so confused, but it's like if you just quiet down and like
Mhm.
close your eyes and know just let that answer come to you. Like it'll be revealed slowly.
People are
But it's,
so trained to look to a guru or to look to some other self-proclaimed archangel, but they're looking in the every direction except inside. And so that's what where the true. That's why people, like you said, meditation needs to come back more, because that's the time where we do go and we're actually kind of forced. We close our eyes and we try to take away all sounds and distractions into a very quiet and relaxing state, and that's where you start to go into this higher self potential. So it's
yeah, it all
beautiful.
comes from within. Like
Mhm.
everything outside. I mean, you can create it so the external reflects your internal, but right now, with the way that everything is, the external is much more deceptive than the
Yeah,
internal.
yeah.
So it really is more like having that multidimensional vision and knowing.
Mhm.
Like being willing. And you can't really do that if you feel really guilty and you don't want to face yourself, or if you don't want to like look within because there's certain things that you don't want to see or it's too painful. So all of that is like the clearing of the self so that no part of yourself can hide from itself. And then that clarity is reflected externally. And it's just the work that we're all doing here together.
Yeah, and two of the attitudes of mastery is having self-love and having forgiveness, and that includes yourself, loving yourself, having forgiveness of yourself and others who have harmed you, or and that is part of the guardian way, and it is a form of healing, and it's a form of accepting your own self, and not like you said, Dara, letting those past mistakes haunt you or rule your life. Heal that, let it release it, let it go, and then start reclaiming your true potential by going inside and realizing that we're all children of God. We're all angelic humans. We all have a beautiful, amazing avatar, Rishi, ascended master, Yana self. So that's what that process is meant to do. So,
Yeah, I really love how you said that because I think self-love is really kind of a question of do you love yourself enough to heal your human or to heal the part of you that thinks it's imperfect, even if it is by human standards? Like,
mhm.
are you going to allow yourself, are you willing to learn how to love yourself to the point where you are successful enough to impact the world in the ways that you want to impact the world? To be your authentic self instead of a limited version of yourself. Like, how big are you willing to step into your own purpose is also a reflection of self-love, especially if it's in service to the one and to all of life. Like, you're not you're not wanting to get a large following or a lot of money for selfish purposes, but
Right.
rather you see it as an expression of like, well, now I can do all these things for all the people that I love and that I care about, and I can create a beautiful impact for the rest of the world. And it's a lot less about the self, but you do have more freedom. And it takes that courage of like making the right decisions that also affirm your self-love. So not letting people sabotage you or lead you astray, or not holding on to belief systems that don't really serve you, that are actually just holding you back.
Mhm.
And that can be hard to do. It takes a lot of self-reflection.
Yeah. Plus, it's hard because a lot of people, like especially their parents or they're growing up, a lot of negative programming. You're stupid. You're not to amount to anything. All this programming in school, programming in our job place, that's all programming that you need to release. That's all illusion. That's all distortion. That's not the truth. The truth is that you have this divine, eternal connection to Source God. There's nothing wrong with you. It's simply a matter of healing of that all that old programming and letting it go. Don't you think that would help a lot of people?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I really like that question. Like, if you really loved yourself, what would your boundaries look like? If you
Yeah.
really, really loved yourself, if you accept the love that your God self is sending you right now, what does your life look like? What does your day look like? What are your relationships like? Where are you living? Like, if you really, really loved yourself, like, what is the most loving decision that you can make? Because your God self is not going to inspire you to hurt other people. It's going to
Yeah.
inspire you to be powerful so that you can help other people. So it's like, are you accepting God's love into your heart right now? And how, and it takes a recalibration, because all of our hearts have been so wounded and so
Yeah.
betrayed by humanity. It's very easy to lose hope. But there's always you and your God self. And it is always about you and your relationship to God's source. And then what you're willing, how much of that love you're willing to take into your body and make decisions from that place. I think
And
that's what can really, yeah, change your life and change the world.
right. And it's literally like if we work with our chakras, if we work with, bringing in that consciousness of each of those levels of ourself, that happens naturally, don't you think? I mean, it's just becomes a part of you're actually not becoming, you're reclaiming what you already are. So,
Yeah, exactly. It's just it's I see it kind of like dust on your soul, like all of these distorted belief
yeah.
systems. You're just like, okay, we'll just let that fall away and my
Yeah.
true self can shine. And that's all it is. You recognizing who you really are and fully breathing life into it as the God self that you are in this human body, which can be really hard for people to wrap their mind around without getting a big ego, but it's just like,
Yeah. It's not a space of ego. It's a
no,
space
it's
of just
connection.
right.
And like not denying who you are. And it also, you don't have the excuse of saying, well, like, I don't know any better because it's just little old me?
Well, that's why when people hear us say, I am God, I am sovereign, I am free, they think that is ego, but it's not even close. It's a matter of this realization that of the sacred universal law of one, that we're all part of God. And there is no chosen ones because we're all chosen. So,
Yeah, we're all chosen. It's more like, do you choose to be as God? Do you choose
yeah.
to behave as your God
Right. Right.
would? So it's more like you choosing yourself, not really something
Mhm.
external choosing you.
Yeah.
And I think also when we have such hurt hearts and betrayed hearts, that's one of the most comforting things, to know that your God self has always
Right.
chosen you, is always choosing you,
Yeah.
will never not choose you, because you are it and it's wanting you to come back.
Yeah.
And I've personally like really had the experience of doing certain meditations. One of them was like, I think it was the Zendradawn Awakening. I don't know if you've done that. And like the Eyes of Ra. Have you done that one?
No, tell us about it. You,
Well, it's I think it's like a Thara 4.
there
So,
we
and
go. Yeah.
I mean I've skipped around, but I love doing like the basics and then coming
Mhm.
back around and then like just getting deeper into them. It's almost like yoga. It's like
Yeah.
meditation yoga, and each time you do it, you learn something more.
Mhm.
And I just remembered I set my consciousness up like all the way up to God source, and then I remembered like just doing the techniques in a way where my God self like answered, and it wasn't just one, it was like the collective soul family that of my expanded self that was like, we missed you, like where have you been? And it was literally like a clicking into place. Like you just click back into place and back into alignment. And obviously, it's something that you have to keep up. It's something that you have to keep doing and practicing daily.
Mhm.
But your soul family really does want you back, and they really do miss you, and they miss having access to you from any part of the galaxy. Like they want to connect with
Yeah.
you. It's just like, are we clearing up our phone lines and the static that's standing in the way? And
Yeah.
that's what all of these meditations help you to do.
So I ask you, Dara, like for newcomers, people who are just getting into spirituality, could you give kind of like some tips or steps that you think would be very beneficial, especially in today's climate?
Well, definitely. Well, I do recommend Ashiana Jain's work, like the Freedom
Yeah.
Teachings. There's so many groups, because they have a lot of techniques. But I think most of all, if you have a sincere heart, like if you really want to reconnect with your God self and you take the time to just close your eyes and have that intention and really feel it in your heart, or even send it out to wherever you think God is.
It's not
Just
complicated, is it?
no, it's just like having that sincere desire
Yeah.
and then waiting for the response, which always comes. But it's more on like how clear is your consciousness to receive it. So you might not get it at that moment, or you might, or it might be like it the next day. And also just to stay open to signs. So like, you'll hear it in a song, you'll see memes, messages, like that's all your God self sending you things through the matrix because that's what you're using right now.
555-222-111 is also a sign.
Yeah. Numbers, all of
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
All of that. But so I would definitely say like having a sincere desire to connect with your highest self, your God self, and being willing to face whatever is in the way. So that could be like self-hatred, that could be old programming, that could be guilt, it could be wounding. Like just having that willingness to allow your God self and that love to find you and kind of like dissolve those layers is really helpful. Like just being willing to let that happen because that's you using your
Yeah.
free will to reconnect.
So you have to be honest with yourself too, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I do think there is something to loving God and truth and love, which is all one thing, in different flavors of like one thing, which is like truth, love, and the source of everything in unity. Um, just loving that more than loving the distortions or than loving the ego. Like we all have an ego. You can use your ego to serve, but you shouldn't just serve your ego because
Well,
then that's gonna make
there's a negative ego and a positive ego. So,
yeah, well, your ego's job is to serve your soul and to serve your higher self. It's like you
mhm,
have a vessel and it has its own storyline, and you're just
right.
basically playing a character here. But that character can be a God-aligned character that is authentic to your soul. And so you can take whatever God has given you and use it in whatever ways you think are in alignment, and just know that your ego is serving God's source instead of just doing things for your ego to create more materialistic things that just
Yeah.
you out of alignment with yourself.
Well, that's what I mean. Some people say crush the ego, destroy the ego, but there's a part of the ego that's your mental body. It's your third chakra. You don't throw it away. It still has a purpose. Like you said, it helps you connect to your soul level. So it has a
Yeah.
use. There's a positive and a negative one. We transmute the negative one.
Yeah. And I mean, another simple thing that I would say is like chakra work is really important, like how you're
Yeah.
talking about that before, because it helps you to just realign and to have like a central vertical column of light and to really activate those parts of the human body. But there's so many different chakras that it can get confusing for people because you could
Yeah.
use like a 12 tree grid, you could use like the
Yeah.
regular like eight chakra system. I guess they all work. Um, but when I think about assimilating your God self, I think about how you're basically calling, it's almost like if you lost a little soul shard or a soul fragment, you're calling it back to yourself from like a really high level. And so that's the part of you that needs to dissolve all of the layers and all the things standing between itself and God source. And then it comes back and it's almost like you're recreating your light body on a higher realm when you dissolve these patterns and when you do the inner work. So, so it doesn't seem like work. Like you're literally assembling your God self back together, even though it is already there. And it gets trippy for people, but the consciousness, the conscious reconnection is what you're going through. And it can also be a very beautiful journey. Like think about all of the different highs and lows that you've had in all of your lifetimes and all of your existences. It's like it just gives you
From
that.
this a higher view of your lifespan, right?
Mhm.
Ups and your
And
downs.
yeah, it gives you like momentum. It gives you drive. Like think
Mhm.
about all of the different yous that you have been and what their desires were and what they were crying about and the things that they really wanted. And you can learn to have compassion for all of those different yous.
Yeah, you don't like regret those selves. Those are part of your stepping stones of what you became now, right? You don't hate on your old self.
Yeah, exactly. So I do think it's like a remembering love and also as much as possible, I try to have like a win-win-win type of scenario or possibility door opening energy for people because a lot of times we're so used to being in duality that we only think in terms of like win, lose, and I
Yeah.
have to be the winner or I have to be better or I have to be the victor and there's going to be a loser or it's like kill or be killed. But when you expand to the third option, which is like God's source, like a Trinity, it's like, well, everybody can win. We just have to
Yeah.
expand beyond the duality.
Right. Because that's all duality is all programming. They want us polarized. They want us fighting and arguing and hurting each other, right?
Yeah, and that's part of the whole thing with like God has made me aware of certain people that I've had to block just because they
Mhm.
wouldn't stop certain negative things with my energy and that kind of thing. And I feel like that's okay. Like those people just shouldn't be in your energy field because they're not choosing to be in a Christic energy. They're not choosing
Yeah.
to
Healthy
cooperate
boundaries.
or be harmonious. Like they're looking for some source of food, like to feed off of you, which is different. It's almost
Yeah.
like self-protection.
That's why you
So
do need boundaries on certain
yeah.
individuals. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. So
Um,
I don't know. Do you have any more thoughts, questions?
actually, looks like there was two questions and maybe a third one. Do you mind?
No, I think it's good.
But yeah, Dara, see, we didn't just talk about dark stuff, right?
Oh, no, we didn't. We talked about a lot of stuff.
That's right. Let me see. Pink Lemon asks, is the black goo a reference to the shadow body?
No, if this is an AI alien tech, the shadow body is created by us,
Mhm.
and our own shadows and things that we need to work on and reassimilate back to ourselves. But the black goo is totally AI tech from like negative ETs. I don't know if that answers.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. And also, the teachings do talk about the shadow body. So, and I want to ask, here's another question. How can I tell if I've been infiltrated by black goo? If so, how can I fix this?
Yeah, so the way that I fixed it was with the guardians. Like I just asked them to help me. And I wasn't even aware of it. This was in a different lifetime in a different body that I had. Most likely, if you do have any bit of infiltration, like you can ask the guardians to come in and heal you as much as possible, and they will. They'll do it. It might take some time. How you would know is I would say that if you're psychically aware, you'd probably wake up and see black goo entities around you or like black goo things moving and trying to take your codes. I also feel like there's just a specific darkness. And for the person who asked that, I feel like they're not infiltrated. I don't know
Hmm,
why they're worried, but I
that's
just
good. Yeah.
intuitively feel that. Yeah.
Well, it could be because they took the jab. Maybe they're worried about it. Maybe. And
Yeah.
I just
Mhm.
want to say something real quick. You guys, it's also happening in the air. The chemtrails, they drop these things. They've been doing that for decades, right? So, like, it could be, you don't just have to be limited to this. You can still get it somehow. So, but go ahead, Dara. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's good. You just have to have enough discernment to learn how to detox. Like doing detox protocols is really good. There's so many different ones out there that I don't even really want to get into how to detox different things, but you can detox from the job and there's lots of different people that do
Yeah,
it. But even more than that, I would say it's like having your own discernment and turning on your Christic, like knowing, like just turning your own body so that you know what is yours and what isn't. Like a lot of times, you can tell that you're getting more infiltrated when you have thoughts that you know aren't your own. You're like, why am I thinking that? Like, where am I picking this thought form up? And it's usually getting beamed through the grids. Like they're trying to influence you to do certain things. But if you know yourself, you'll know when it's organic to you and something that you authentically want to do or something that you authentically want to think about or when it's just something they're seeding into the collective field to try to get you to act a certain way. But usually with frequency targeting, they want you to have an emotion about it. So like they want to make a particular group of people angry or like very irritated. So
trigger, trigger
yeah,
people. Yeah.
they trigger people.
Yeah.
So just be aware of that. And the only way that you can be aware is if you know who you really are, or if
Yeah.
you're connected enough to yourself to know that something feels wrong or artificial.
Yeah, and I wanted to say what does help, what I've read about you guys is nicotine. Believe it or not, is actually good against those elements that are synthetic elements in there, and also something called borax. Look it up, please, and zeolite drops. So um,
Yeah.
that's something that.
And bentonite clay too.
What was that?
Bentonite clay.
There we go. And because some of us were literally, I mean, not myself either, but
Mhm.
my own family had been were forced to do this because if they wanted to keep their job, uh, it happened even to one of my relatives who didn't want to move, but the person made them do it to protect the household. So you see, not all of us wanted to do it, but there is definitely something you want to heal. But and there was one more, Jazzy Jazz. She asked, "How are we able to do chakra work?"
Um, well, you've probably seen a lot of the chakra grids, right? I mean, even besides chakra work, I would say you can imagine like, doing your Maharic seals. So like when you have the Star of David or even a dot of light in your pineal gland, and you send it all the way to the earth, to the core of the earth. And I like to do breathing. So, like, you can breathe inwards and intend that energy, like silver white energy from the earth core, in like go into this little dot of light that you threw down there, which is like you. And then you pull that up through your field. And you can do that and stop at each chakra. And at each chakra, you can imagine just activating it. And like you just breathe in and out, like breathe more light into it from the earth core. And like say you get to the root chakra and then you breathe light into it from the earth core. It's kind of like a straw. I think of it like a straw, like just you can
Yeah.
either do like
So
yeah,
prana tube, they
yeah, it's a
call it.
prana
Yeah.
tube. So you can breathe from the earth core up to each chakra and activate it with like balls of light. So that works pretty good for me.
Yeah, we get good at practicing visualization a lot, especially for the chakra work. And I want to say, even in Kathara, moderators, one of you, please put that in the chat. They talk about something called triadic phase currents, and that helps you develop whatever chakra you want. Let's say this one, you'd be using three different rays or colors in that visualization technique, and so that would help as well. So,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a little bit more advanced, so I didn't know if you want me to talk about
oh
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, of
the
course, yeah.
three
But
flames.
But
Hmm.
the visualization is important, like indigo sphere, a green sphere. Like Dara said, you get used to seeing the ball. Some people say it's a wheel spinning, or just however, get used to seeing it with your eyes closed and your third eye. It really helps. You're literally doing something, right? Even if you don't feel it, but it's literally doing some sort of activation on that chakra.
Yeah. And a friend of mine used to do these dances a while back that were specifically to like activate each chakra. And I wanted to do
Oh,
a party, but
really?
I would do like a physical party. So it's like a series of dances that you can do. It's just
Do you
like
know him?
dancing.
Do you know him?
they're not specific
Yeah.
dances. They're just like the intention
I
is to
see.
activate that chakra. Like you do a meditation and activate that chakra and that theme.
So you could do
And
disco if you
yeah,
wanted.
it was really fun. But you have the intention and you do a group meditation before too to like
Oh,
really activate that specific chakra.
all of
So
them.
like for root chakra, you do a lot of like lower body stuff and then
Hmm.
you progressively go up. But
I
it's
like
really
that.
fun. Yeah. Yeah, probably just
Well,
getting in a really good mood and dancing is also
well, that energy of joy and
yeah.
happiness, it adds to the power, right?
Mhm.
Make it fun. Why not? That's a cool idea, actually.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. I feel like when you're totally in alignment, I just naturally get really happy. But I don't know if that happens for everyone because some people just feel like peace. So you could feel happiness or you could feel peace or just this like sense of well-being when you're in alignment with yourself and the things that you're
Yeah.
supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I definitely you definitely can feel that happiness because I mean you get exhilarated, you just feel good and you feel like you're in alignment. It's like you sh I couldn't imagine you wouldn't feel some type of positive pleasure from that, I would think. So,
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe that's like another meditation on its own. Just like be happy, do things that make you feel alive, like
yeah.
naturally and organically, and
A
connect with your
happiness
body, connect with
technique.
the planet. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's like one of like the best workout tips that I could give people too, because I started to get more into working out recently. And just like being happy as much as possible, like you just have so many endorphins in your body that it kind of makes you like eat healthier or you don't really crave junk food as much because you feel good and you're just happy.
What do you do for exercises?
I like to do some weightlifting and some
There we
running,
go.
some bike stuff.
Aerobic stuff too?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
mean a literal bike or in the house bike?
Um, I've been doing like the elliptical bike
Oh,
inside,
okay.
but it's
Okay.
at the gym. So
Yeah.
I like going to the gym because you have like that set time. Otherwise, I'd have to buy all these materials and machines to have at my place.
Well, I've always
Mhm.
encouraged people that since I started that myself about 6 weeks ago, lifting weights again, that I encourage people that it's important to be active, not to be so dormant and sedentary, because what expresses in your body expresses in your consciousness. So don't you agree, Dara, that it's important to be some type of physical activity?
Yeah, and you're what actually happens like from an energetic perspective is that you're training your muscles to hold more energy, which naturally keeps you more energized during the day. Even though I do get super tired, but like you're training your muscles to hold more light in them. And then when you meditate, like you can use that and it makes it more powerful because you're stronger, like physically and spiritually. So it's all connected. It's kind of it goes back to like how a lot of people want to ignore their bodies and just get really spiritual.
Right, right.
But it's like your body is sacred too. So how would your God self love your body? And
Well, your
it
body
wants to be
should,
alive.
it's
It
a
wants to move.
temple. It's a
Mhm.
temple for those divine frequencies. And
It
if you
is.
haven't done any work on your body, what is it, like you said, what kind of code or energy do you think you can hold in this vessel? So,
Yeah. Yeah. It trains your when your body, I mean, that's why all the yogis did all this yoga
oh
too. Like
yeah.
just for it, like they weren't into fitness to look good. They were just
It's
doing the pranic breathing and really trying to get their bodies to be nimble and flexible like the
mhm.
mind.
It's a
And
it's a science actually. What they
yeah,
were
like
doing with
Kriya yoga.
hmm
And all of those different kinds. Like it's for you to be able to hold more frequency in your body,
right.
which is harder to do if you're so
Out of
disconnected
shape.
from yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that you start to get out of shape. And a lot of times, I mean, I know that people have hormonal issues and that kind of thing,
Mhm.
but that's also an imbalance that could
Well,
probably be
diet.
fixed and looked at.
Yeah.
And it's like if you did love yourself, like what would you eat right now? If you were to act as your God self, what would you be eating? What would you be
Uh,
doing?
Does your God self want a hamburger? I don't think so, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's like your one hamburger out of the month or
Out
something,
of
but
the year or something,
yeah.
yeah. I'm guilty of those kind of hamburgers, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not like to say like I really think it's more about joy and moderation. Like don't beat yourself
Balance.
up. Don't,
Balance.
yeah, exactly. Like I like to eat fries. I
Beat
like to
a
eat junk food.
beat a little bit flexible. You
Yeah,
know?
just being flexible and keeping your inner child happy, but also knowing that true love is really like how is this food going to make my body feel? Or how is this
Yeah.
interaction with this person going to make my body feel? Like everything is
Right.
food and fuel. Because
Yeah.
it's kind of hard when you get to that level, but like there's no boundaries really. So you when you're around someone, you're kind of like in each other's field.
Oh,
So
you
some
are
people are
literally.
really draining.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you have to think like, well, should I really be around these people or should I like cut back being their friend or that kind of thing, which is more
Well,
about self-protection. Or maybe sometimes you do have to talk to your friends about like them taking care of their own stuff so that you guys can be friends again.
especially a partner that you're close with, so
Yeah,
or
totally.
or someone you
And
share space with.
yeah, but even like online, like what kind of materials
Yeah.
are you consuming? What kind
Right.
of videos are you watching? Because they can get really addictive. Like as humans, we have this tendency to get addicted to negative things because they're so fascinating.
Well,
And it's kind
I can't get why people watch horror. Like, what are you getting out of
yeah.
horror, right?
Well, I used to like horror a lot when I was growing up, but I think it's a thing, like they make evil look good in movies, and you're like, yeah,
Cool.
I'm gonna be
Lucifer's
powerful and
cool.
cool.
Demons are cool.
Yeah, but now I'm just like, oh no, like we went to the other day and my son tried on this mask and it was like this really scary, like ghoulish mask. And
Oh,
I was
for
like, please
Halloween.
take that off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, that's gonna attract some demons to you. Like, I don't want you to wear that.
This,
But he loved
this
it.
is actually what Halloween does. It's attracting, you're dressing up like a demon. You're scaring people. It's all about trick or treat. It is got some energy behind it, right?
Oh, totally. And I mean, I'm not even gonna mention like all of the
Yeah.
child sacrifices and
Right.
all of the rituals going on around this time.
Yeah.
Just like
It's real, man. It's no joke.
it's real,
Um,
it's really sad. And that's also what I mean. Like it can be, we can get stuck in our truth warrior. Like, let's just talk about all of the evil things that are going on in the world. But it's like you have to have balance with that too. Otherwise, you'll
of
just get
course.
really sucked
Yeah.
down and go down a really bad rabbit hole and like not be able to get out because then everything is sort of
Well,
like
they
what
got
can
to.
you trust?
I mean, almost all video games are you're killing something. Movies are about drama and killing, hurting people. It's constant bombardment. So, like you said, we need a balance from that. Take a break from that, right?
Yeah, yeah, but I just mean like sometimes we can get really self-righteous about like all of these government people are corrupt and this is what they're doing. And it's like, well, yes, but how much control do I have over that? Like, can I maybe shift
Mhm.
focus to what I can do right now, which is more about
That
fixing my
too.
life
Yeah.
and myself and my energy body. So it's
Mhm.
like that balance can be hard for us sometimes.
Yeah, we got to be very mindful and responsible. That's one of the attitudes, by the way. Responsibility and accountability, impeccability. So we're guided. It's like a landmine nowadays. All the things that are out here. So we have to become very just aware, more aware of what's around us and what we get ourselves entangled with.
Yeah. And then I'm curious about like how you started on your like Christic journey or just in general, like all of this meditation.
Yeah, I actually was starting to awaken maybe around 2010. And so um, that there was some type of spirituality ideas, like mostly truth seeking. So I think all indigos go through that. We're a rebel against this negative system. And I was not, even if I wasn't aware of it, I knew something was wrong in the world. And so I went on this truth thing. So it wasn't spiritual yet, but it was leading me there. I was watching Alex Jones because he was talking about the conspiracy theories and the government. So, but that didn't satisfy me. I kept going and searching. Eventually, I was looking into crystals. Something about crystals fascinated me. I didn't understand it. So I got an amethyst, I got a quartz, and a few other crystals. It was nice to have those frequencies, but what it did is it got me into researching that stuff. And then I started thinking about consciousness and spirituality and God, and because I have a whole Christian background, none of that served me at all. Rebelled against that. As soon as I was 18, I said, I'm out of here. The whole Christian background thing. But eventually it was 2010 where I saw this Carrie Cassidy interview with Ashiana Dean, and that just, even though it was really complex, I'm sure you understand that, right? Oh, it was so complex, but there was something part of it that just drew me in. I just knew there's something to this. I have to understand it. I want to understand it. I read this book so many times, the PDFs. I watched so many videos more than once so I could start to understand. And so that led me on my mission, what I was supposed to be. We talked about some of that earlier, that we may be distracted, but our DNA is pulling us to where we're supposed to be going. Our soul is going to be pulling us truly. Even in the moment, I didn't understand, but later I started to understand that I ended up on this because this was my mission. And yeah, I had to suffer. I had to go through physical problems, emotional problems, mental problems. I had anger issues, but all that was transmuted in this Christic journey, because there is a difference between New Age and Christic. No judgment. Everyone's on their path, but that, and as a matter of fact, I got involved in the occult. I got involved in Archangel Michael and all these Egyptian gods, Roman gods, Greek gods. Well, I don't demonize those parts of myself, but I had to move on beyond that. And so I got into the inner Christos. I got into unity. And then that what's really led me into where I am now. Now I'm actually, because I used to mock this spirituality. Now I'm teaching it, a Christic spirituality. So that's somewhat of my background. So,
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Do you feel like it's helped you to do the practices or has it cleared up for you?
oh, most definitely. Especially the Mahar's shield. That is something that's made a huge difference in my life. And it just truly profound shift. Like it just, I started experiencing the paranormal, the supernatural, and I never had experiences. And so I had my first empathy experience, and I was a believer after that. I mocked it before, those kind of abilities, ESP, what is that? With psychic powers, right? But then I had one myself. I couldn't deny it. And it was so powerful that it led me on this learning. I was hungry for more knowledge. I wanted to understand what it was. And so, yeah, definitely these techniques really helped me um, connect to that higher part of myself. I learned about the Templar chakras. I learned about the shields and fields and Hoover bodies, and so it made a huge difference in my life. And I'm truly grateful. I stand in the space of that gratitude because I was most of my adult life was was lost and confused. So I'm a late bloomer. It's so wonderful to see younger generations that are already getting it. Even some children are already getting it. So I'm just grateful to be in this space today.
Yeah, yeah, that's so good. I think for me, it definitely took some calibration time for
Yeah,
me to like get in touch with different kinds of work, even though I always had a lot of parts of me that were awake. Like Oceanide's work is just so complex that like it takes a few times of like
right.
watching it to, I even think that you have to get the frequency up to be able to understand it, to be able to
Yeah.
translate it.
Well, I think
So,
the part of it is she starts with the basic and she goes up, 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 up. She doesn't go back to the basic stuff. She keeps on accelerating. So if somebody, like you said, there's confusion. If a new person goes and watches an advanced video, no way. What are you talking about? So I encourage you guys to
yeah.
go to the beginning. Go to Kathara at least and work your way up, and then it'll make sense to you, right? You'll get that.
Yeah, but even with that, like the manuals are really complex, and then the videos
Yeah.
are like 8 hours long, and then there's like 10
Or
videos.
20 hours long.
Yeah, so I think that's why it's helpful to have a group because I think more than like claiming ownership over certain parts of the knowledge, even though she brought it through as speaker one,
Yeah.
that's the most important thing that we can do right now is to get our own shields up and our own DNA
Mm,
activated so that we can impact the rest of the world and do what we came here to do, which is wake ourselves up and wake our soul
mm,
family up and fulfill those contracts that we made before we got here. And you're only going to do that once you fully wake up and remember who you are. But
yeah.
you just need to look for enough guidance to show you the way back to yourself. And then your higher self takes over from there and tells you what's next for you.
Yeah, I thought Christic Symbiosis did an excellent job of
Yeah.
start here. go here. But you're right, Dara. I think coming and making groups really helps out a lot of newcomers. So uh,
Yeah.
we welcome newcomers, you guys. Don't be intimidated by this information. You have questions, ask. And we have lots of people in this community, growing a community, who want to help and want to learn. We give the links, we give the videos. So this is service, and this is not work to us. This is a joy. This is we. I love doing this, and I know Dara does. And so it is very important that we come together, and that's what we're planting seeds for right now.
Yeah, yeah. So definitely if anybody wants to join, just go to my Instagram and that's me a message and I'll add them.
What's your handle so people know?
It's Dara.Akasha. So
Okay,
the same as my name.
I'll put it in the description after the live is over. But so
Yeah.
people they can just reach out to you and ask
Yeah,
you.
and just tell me that they're interested in learning about it. I wanted to get a few people together so that we could start on the basic stuff together as a group and then talk about it like during that week. But it's really fun. It's really fun. It's not like Bible study or anything. It's like
Right,
it's
right.
really exciting. I feel like you're just advancing your own psychic senses and you're learning how to do the techniques, which are pretty easy, but you also get to do it as a group.
Mhm.
And I also wanted to do it as a group so that we could talk about the things that do come up, like individually.
Right.
Like it's always so much more helpful to do that with friends or with people who are going through the same thing. So like as you start clearing your DNA, like you will have things come up. Like people might lash out at you. You might get more targeted briefly, but then we'll help you to be able to clear that or to
Well,
navigate it more smoothly.
I think that's what happens when you get into the teachings. You start
Hmm.
to shift to a Christic mode, and then it could even be from your own fields or your own self-doubts or other people seeing you change. They don't like that. Or any type of spirit frequency who doesn't want you to go to a Christic path either, right? All kinds of people.
Yeah, it's all of it. It's your
Yeah.
own stuff clearing,
Mhm.
it's letting go of old patterns and reaffirming who you really are and the people that were used to feeding off of your energy,
Right.
suddenly realizing they can't do that anymore and getting mad at you. So this could be like entities, it could be people in your actual life, it could be like lots of things.
Yeah, that's why we're saying expect it, you guys, because this is the real deal. This isn't some false light system. This is why it is targeted. This is why Dara's targeted. I'm targeted because they know this is kind of like gonna mess up their agenda. This is they don't want this truth coming out. So, as a matter of fact, you're gonna need to make some personal choices because maybe you're starting to awaken, but your partner isn't. What do you do? Right? Or you have to make a choice of what you're going to do in that situation.
Yeah, and even like it's like why would you start this whole spiritual journey if you know you're just going to get targeted, right? So like people might ask that question and honestly, it's because the more of yourself that you have, the happier and like the deeper your happiness and the more expansive life gets for you. So it's not just like you're going to get so targeted and all these bad things are going to happen. It's like that's part of it. That's just like the road clearing. But the actual reward is that you get access to your multidimensional
Right.
self and ultimately to your own freedom. And I think that's just like really priceless. Like that's just so exciting.
That's incentive.
It's like going into your own sci-fi movie. It's like activating your own superpowers, but it's not, you're not doing it for the superpowers. You're doing
Right.
it because it feels so good and it's
Right.
who you're meant to be. Everything else is a distortion. Like you being wounded and thinking you're small and
Yeah.
thinking that you're inadequate, that's all programming and that's
Mhm.
not who you really are. Like
Words of
humans,
power.
yeah, we're supposed to be stewards on the planet. We're supposed to be
Yeah.
connected. The only reason AI is able to take over now is because we're so disconnected and so separate and we can't even trust each other. So this is kind of like us coming together to heal each other.
And
And
create a
it's fun when you
space,
can do it together. Yeah.
that people can trust. And like in my chat here, everyone can talk about their supernatural experiences and not be mocked or ridiculed for it. You're in the right place, you guys. You are welcome to share and ask questions, right?
Yeah, and also to clarify things when you might be getting targeted and you can't tell like what's the truth and what's the lie. Or when your psychic senses start to come on, it's like, did I
Mhm.
just hear a demon or did I hear my higher self? Like, what am I hearing here? So it's fun to talk about that with other people and not have them think you're crazy and help you
Right.
to decipher what that is.
And that's why it is important, like you said, to know who you are as a spiritual being, as a child of God. It's important for because then you will know what is a demon or not. You'll know what is a distortion or not. So it's important to keep on learning this knowledge, and it's a reminder, it's a memory. You'll feel a resonance, right? Did you feel a resonance with when you started getting into this teachings?
Oh, totally. I mean, already had a lot of memories from
Hmm.
other lifetimes. So I was like, yeah, I remember that. I have the other puzzle piece of that. Or
Yeah.
like, oh, that makes so much sense. Like sometimes your memories are fuzzy, and then like someone that really, really remembers can tell you one thing and it just triggers a cascade of memories. And you're like, oh, I was there and I know how this happened. And you can even add to like what because you have different puzzle pieces of it. And it's like, well, from my perspective, this is what was going on and this is what happened. And there's so much distortion, so you really do have to figure it out yourself. And that's how you can really tell if people are God aligned and part of a freedom movement when they really
Mhm.
encourage you to find the answers yourself, to try out the technique
Right.
yourself, to look inwards
And
and
not rely on something else, but
yeah, but that's what we always do as humans because we've
right,
been programmed to be little slaves and little
right,
followers.
yeah,
So that's what we keep doing, even though the masters have said like you can do this and much more. Jesus, you could talk about like all of the
right,
teachers. They always said, look within and look to your
right.
highest self, and you are one with God. So it's not about externalizing or idolizing things. Like other people can show you a path or they can direct you, but it's really ultimately up to you. And
Mhm.
that is what sets you free. When you can help others around you to become more of who they are and to step into their own leadership qualities and their leadership abilities, that's what we're here to do. We're not here to create followers. We're here to create more awakened leaders
Right.
because that's what the planet needs.
And that's what you mean. You can be a little bit suspicious of any of these groups that are telling you to look outside yourself. That's the opposite message, right? We want to look within, not without. So,
Yeah, and in a way, like you could think of AI, and there's different kinds of AI. Like I don't have a problem with most of it. It's like the really advanced AI alien tech that's trying to like take
yeah, the
over
ET
humanity.
tech. Yeah.
Yeah. But the reason why it's there, like it's like a crutch for our own spiritual connection. Like ideally, we are all telepathic and we could communicate with ourselves and with each other and with our higher aspect selves. And we wouldn't need technology, but because they made us slaves, we have to rely on the technology that they
Hmm.
give us to use it. And then if they take it away, then we can't communicate. Like if you don't have a phone or internet, like how are you going to communicate with other people?
And people freak out. Oh, where's my phone? What am I going to do now? There's no internet, right?
Yeah, but I also think it's fun. Like technology is really a crutch for something that is meant to be ours naturally and
Right,
spiritually, and for something that's not meant to be taken away by any government or by any ET or any
right.
being. Like we're supposed to have connection and we're supposed to understand each other. So that's another plus of like learning how to turn all of this stuff on. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect at all. I'm doing this with you. So
Well, self-sovereignty, not
yeah.
being self-reliant on something else, right? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, we're not perfect. There is distortions in planetary fields, but we're all, striving to be the best version of ourselves as we possibly can. And so,
Yeah. And I guess like one of the biggest takeaways that I would want people to understand is that even though there's all of these dark things going on in the planet,
mhm.
you have the God spark. And so you could say like just if you had to have like really quick instructions, it's like, okay, all this stuff is going on. You get to decide what you want reality to collapse into. Like you get to pick what timeline you're going to feed and focus on. And it doesn't matter what's going on around you. It's like the external reality matters much less than what you're putting into it from an internal place. And so you can direct the timelines. Like that's what you were meant to do. When you have your Christic self turned on and your God spark active, like you have much more control of it. And it does get turned on more gradually for people. But it's just so that people aren't scared about like all of these false light things and false AI grids and black goo and all of that. It's like that's going on, but also your God self is trying to get you back and heal you, and
Yeah.
you can affirm what you want to occur within the timeline, within your own holographic field. And it can get hard for people to understand that, but just like focus on what you want to occur. And I've seen how this looks from like a higher perspective, and it looks like you're putting in your consciousness and pushing it through a grid field. And so your consciousness is having the experience of like moving through it, even though nothing's really, like not here, everything is here. But you're having the experience of pushing your consciousness through specific grids and specific timelines. And you have that capacity as a real, authentic, organic human. And everything else is just suggestions. Like what people tell you is going on that is really negative. It doesn't have to apply to you. I think it's better to focus on becoming the highest version of yourself and impacting the world in the ways that you want to than simply focusing on all of the bad things that are going on that you can't really control because you're not empowering yourself enough to be able to shift it.
Yeah, and then you're just getting frustrated and scared of all that negative stuff instead of, like you said, just not getting entangled at. So,
Yeah, and that's another thing too about like Christic people. It's like we, and I maybe I shouldn't say Christic, but it's like you have free will that's given to you by God's source. So
mhm.
we'll tell you things, but it's up to you to accept it or to
Yeah,
use it or utilize it. And it's the same thing with negative things that people are telling you, like, oh, reality sucks, like the economy is
right,
down or whatever. It's like, thanks, that's optional, but I'm gonna choose to create my own
right.
timeline as much as I possibly can. So just see reality as more of a suggestion to the extent that you can, and then try to direct your own consciousness in the direction that you want to go.
Right. You don't want to follow, you don't need to follow someone else's script or someone else's idea. So
Yeah, and I usually find that that can create a lot of miraculous solutions for you in your life.
trust
When,
yourself.
yeah, when you know that you have the ability to shift reality, to shift the matrix, and maybe you can see yourself as like you are the driver that's like opening up certain timelines and certain things and making it happen versus other people suggesting like, oh, this is what's happening.
Right,
Like that's all
right,
suggestions. You can
right.
accept it or you cannot accept it. And there's a fine line because people are going to be like, oh, you're just burying your head in the sand. You're not looking at reality. But you just know that you're more powerful than the external.
Hmm.
And we're all waking that up. But we have to do it responsibly because, there's been like gods and fallen angelics that have totally messed up reality before when they had
Yeah,
that power
yeah.
fully
They
and
abuse
completely.
that free will choice. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I think that's what we're doing. We're transmitting a lot of that damage. So,
Yeah. And another belief is to know that you exist beyond the matrix, beyond
oh
the
yeah.
beyond whatever they try to confine you, you're way beyond it. And if you can connect to, like, imagine just expanding your consciousness as far as possible, like beyond everything, that can really like impact the matrix that you're in right now. Like it just shifts something.
It's called the Janus self or the ascended master self outside the time matrix, which is
Yeah.
eternal gestalts of consciousness. We're eternal beings and we're not just limited to the human experience, you guys. There's so much more, right?
Yeah, and all of that starts to open up to you, not in a crazy way, but like in a really cool way. Like, oh, I have access to all of these other cool
Yeah, like
analytic
dang.
stuff.
You find the inner child because you got all these things that you can play with in the universe, and that's your God-given
Yeah.
ability, right?
Yeah, yeah, that is really exciting. I do remember just being in like realms of pure happiness and painting with colors, but they're really like galaxies and you're making all these sounds, or sometimes it's just darkness and knowing. And
Yeah.
yeah, there's so many different flavors and aspects of the self that are yet to be explored.
It's cosmic. That's why it's so cool that both of us have this cosmic background
Oh, that's
naturally,
so
right?
true. Yeah, that is so true. I think that's supposed to be Andromeda, but
There we
yeah.
go. Home world there.
Hmm.
It's been a wonderful conversation, Dara. It's been amazing. I'm so glad people were asking about you, so I'm Um, I'm sure we're going to have more co-creation together. I encourage everybody to check out Dara's Instagram, right, and find out what she's talking about these get-togethers, and I'll be posting that as well. So it's important that indigos co-create and come together literally. So I'm definitely grateful you're here again. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much. I had a lot of fun. I do like doing these. I think we should do it more often. Just,
Definitely.
whatever you want to throw me in to your
Of
live.
course, of course, yeah.
Fun. And yeah, there's just been a lot going on. So I was trying to focus on the good and what we can do, which is get our own frequency up, direct
Yeah.
the timeline, and just know that we are beyond all of this and we can come together to affect even more change in a positive way. Like it's not all hopeless and gloomy. Like we can make a
Yeah.
difference.
And it's a team effort. That's why they call it Team Indigo. We're a guardian group. A lot of us incarnated together. A lot of us know each other already. So, of course, we're meant to come together on Earth. And what do you think we're coming from higher dimensions for? This isn't our first rodeo. We're meant to come and make a difference, help heal, help the spiritual awakening and the ascension process. That's why we're here. So let's do it. And let's act like we speak. Let's be those beacons, those Christic beacons of light, right? Don't just theorize.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely like a living practice that you do every day. Even just adopting those few simple thought programs of like I am my Christic self, I am my God self now, I'm one with all.
And that's
I'm
sacred.
expanded. Yeah. And all parts of me are sacred and all of my body, all of the actions that I do, everything is feeding the all, whether I want it to or not. But it's more like, am I willing to face that whatever I create is recorded in the records of eternity? So it's like you want to do your best. You want
Yeah,
to accumulate a lot of happy, joyful moments so
yeah,
that your overall Akashic records are like pretty happy, pretty joyful.
yeah,
So if you have had really dark moments, then maybe it's the time for you to cultivate more super joyful, happy, blissful moments for yourself.
yeah. It's
That's cool.
time, right?
Yeah. Totally.
All right, dear. We'll be doing this again, and we'll make sure that people are checking out this meditation. I'm sure people from this group are going to love to join. So we can't wait
Yeah.
to do that. So, and then that information is on your page, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Just send me a message on Instagram.
Okay.
It's the easiest way
Awesome.
to get a hold of me.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you
Yeah.
for everyone who joined us. Thank you to the moderators. Thank you to all the regulars and all the newcomers. Bless all of you and your Christic journey. We'll see you all together again. Peace. Namaste.